It's Rebecca. So, a lot of people, especially men and boys, ask, what's the big deal about a woman being raped or a girl being raped? I mean, it's a lot of people say, it's natural, so why is it so upsetting? Well, it's not natural. It's a forced violent act and it's invasive. And I ask the men, I'm like, well, what's the number one thing you're afraid of if you go to jail? And they all pretty much say being raped. They're really afraid of that. And I said, look, women are afraid of that every day. I don't know one woman who has not had unwanted sexual attention, sexual contact, rape, whatever. Not one. Every woman and many girls that I've spoken to have had this unwanted horror. So, what does, rape actually do to you afterward? The act itself is god awful. It's so horrifying and you can't stop it and it's not invited. And it's such an invasion of, mind, body, and soul. It's awful. But then afterward, you're usually bleeding because the inside of a woman's vagina is just like the skin on the inside of your lip. It's very tender. A lot of time we're dry when we're attacked. It takes a while to get some, self-preservation, lubrication going. So we tear. And so do boys and men, when they're raped in prison or, raped in their household, whatever, they tear. So you have that pain. And it's a weird, just awful kind of pain. And, then that kind of heals up. But then you go over and over in your head. You're so shattered. You go over and over in your head, well, what should I have done differently? Did I encourage it? Should I have said something else or done something else or not gone down those stairs? I talk to women who hate themselves because they went down a set of stairs to the basement where their, you know, attacker attacked them. Or, I should have, worn different clothes. I remember after my dad got me when I was 13, and I was shaking so hard after. And I got up, and I was just afraid he's going to do it again, because you're just a kid, you have no idea what's happening. So I put my robe on, and I double knotted the robe. And, a child's thinking, it'll be hard for him to, untie that. And it's a robe, it just opens, But, and then I started cleaning the house. He was taking a shower, and I'm just cleaning the house furiously. And we do so many strange things. And then, you think that it's a secret you can't tell. That's a dirty little secret. And then that eats on you. And you're like, you're a dirty little secret. Something in you told them that you were that worthless. They could do that to you. And you deserved it. And then that just starts feeding on your brain. And that's when the insecurity addiction really starts taking hold. And especially if it's in the household and you're a kid, you can't leave the house. There's nowhere for you to go. You don't have a job. You can't get a job because you're so young. And it's the head of the household. Or it's your brother and his buddies who are, babysitting you for free. And you begin to associate that abuse with your own failures as a human being. Or even as a girl, as a woman, that you're something dirty. And then that, unless you get therapy or whatever and you tackle that head on, it never goes away. It'll just eat at you. I mean, I tried to kill myself when I was 24. And it was that bad. it wasn't like a frantic sudden thing, the suicide stuff. It was a buildup of years of horror. And then as an adult, you think, oh, I'm out of the household and everything's going to be great and everything. And then you pick a partner that's like the ones who abused you, you know, because it's something we know. And, and you don't really recognize exactly what the people are. I basically married my father twice, just educated versions of him. I thought the education would be the difference, that if you're educated, that you're going to be a better person. It's not necessarily so. Should be, but it's not. So the way to combat the self-hatred is to recognize we're nobody's dirty little secret. You are not a piece of shit. You never were. That was always a lie. So you hang in there, and in this chaos and maelstrom of, Rape Academy and the pedophile rings and the Epstein shit and all this other stuff, don't see it as the horror that it is. Because sure, it's a horror. We recognize that it's a horror. But see that it's a horror that's been going on for decades, possibly centuries, probably centuries. And this is the first time that there is a global outrage about it. That is amazing news. Instead of, when I was a kid, it was like, oh, don't talk about it. That's nasty. Don't say anything about it. Even on the internet, when I just openly talk about, what happened to me as a kid and a young woman and stuff. How can you talk about that? Especially when women are like, how can you talk about that? That's horrible. They're not saying that anymore. The way the world is now, compared to how it was when I was a kid, when I was a 9-year-old kid bleeding profusely between my legs, and my mom is telling me, those boys are too rough. Just don't play with them. Just stay away from them. Teenagers, and one's my brother. That is not universally accepted anymore. That is not family business. Keep that quiet. You're betraying the family if you dare mention that your family's ripping you apart. So this is really encouraging. All these brave women and men coming forward and telling their stories. It's so inspirational. And not being rebuffed and not being, said, oh, you're something dirty, oh, you're secondhand goods, that kind of bullshit. Oh, you don't have your hymen anymore, so you're worthless. People are starting to recognize how prevalent this has been. It's been the little dirty secret that nobody talks about because that's impolite. Everybody's talking about it now. They're shining light on this filth so we can start cleaning it up. So see what's happening now, not as the horror that it is, because yes, it's a horror, but the fact that it's no longer accepted. And people are getting together to do things about it. Thank you, Virginia Giuffre, and all the other heroes out there who survived and said, I am not a dirty little secret. I'm a human being, and you will hear me. Take care, my brothers and sisters. Love you.